Hello everyone and welcome to this Podops review video. Today I'm going to be talking you through everything you need to know about Podops, and as usual, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'll also be leaving a discounted link in this video's description so that you can always get your money's worth for Podops. So Podops is an all-in-one podcast software, basically allowing you to manage, market, create, record, all sorts of things, your own podcast to then publish and get all the features that you need to earn money from it and things like that. So as you can see, we start off with our dashboard. We have all of our options down the left and our content in the middle, along with all of our options up at the top right. The dashboard is very, very simple. First of all, it shows you how many subscribers you've got to your podcast, how many podcasts you've actually published, how much gratuity you've earned, and how many sponsors you also have. And then under this podcasts tab, you're able to view the last 10, 25, 50, or 100 podcasts that you've actually published onto this website. You're able to view the views, shares, plays, and subscribers along with its title, and also a search function to filter through them if you want to. You can view any top episodes that you've published and also have a little look at any news and updates for the website and the community and things like that. So for example, you have podcast movement, custom domains, you could support a charity, player updates, and player updates as well. But that's more or less our dashboard. It's a good all-round area where we can just see how we're performing in one place. However, it will give you a few more features the more you go into it. So if we move on to the podcast tab, this is where we can create a new podcast. So hitting this button here, we can enter the title. So we'll call it podcast 1 and select our plan. Once we hit create, what we can then do is go ahead and edit this. So we can turn it on and we can turn it off. We can see how many episodes that this podcast consists of. We can see the storage and remaining storage. You can also see when it was created, and then you can hit manage. Now this is where you can put everything in it. So once you've recorded it, you can put stuff in episodes and things like that. Under the podcast info tab, you can change the address, the episode limit, the category, title, the artist, location, things like that, and a contact email for you or your employees if they are managing sort of the PR side of things, and also a description. The episodes tab is where you can upload them. So once you've recorded an MP4 or an MP3 or a WAV file, you can hit upload a new episode, and then it will go into your file system and allow you to upload that stuff into here, and then your episodes will appear here. Then it will also tell you how many hours you have as well remaining for that podcast. You also have players. And this is where you can sort of manage where people are going to find your sort of things, and also adjust the audio of what people are going to be looking at when they listen to it. So you do need to have one episode available, but once you hit customize, this will allow you to change what people look at when they're listening to. Obviously for other platforms, and it depends on what you put them on, such as social media pages, that will obviously be in reference to what their own page looks like. However, you are obviously able to customize the inbuilt one into Podops. You also have social media, so you can add your Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube, and also once you've done that, you can hit update and update all of the links for that as well. And it's nice to be able to have people being able to view you or your company on other social media pages, and really interact with you a little bit more. Now, as I said, you also have analytics, and this is basically where you can view everything that you've got a little bit more in depth. So you have views, shares, plays, downloads, and subscribers. Now, you then get given a graph, and all of these are situated into a key with a color scheme, and then you're able to sort by a specific date or time, week, last 30 days, or a specific year, and then have a little look at how many people and how many listens and things like that you've had in that specific time frame. So it's nice to be able to have that as well. The two final ones are directories and website. Directories basically allow you to submit your podcast so people can listen to your show in their favorite app. As you can see, every single thing that you could possibly want is here. Apple, Google, Amazon, even Spotify at the bottom, Deezer, all these different things you can submit your podcast to. So it doesn't have to just be a built-in thing into Podops. People can also listen to it on their favorite external platforms too, which is a really nice thing that people are able to do, because obviously people do like to have things that they're subscribed to on other platforms and don't want to always have to open up a website in order to listen to a podcast that they enjoy. And then finally, you're able to submit your website as well. So hitting here, you're able to have a little look at what your website will look like on Podops. You can change the website URL and use a custom domain or the default URL, and also change any theme settings that you want for enable comments, themes, and under preview, you can also have a look at what everything will look like itself. Finally, on the main page, we'll go through these final features here. Sponsors allow you to basically keep track of any affiliates or sponsorships that you actually have running and add them to your episode description. So if somebody pays you for an ad or an ident or even just a little snippet of your podcast, this is where you can add them, and you can instantly add them to your files, things like that, and also your descriptions. So really, really handy. You're also able to manage all of the subscribers that you've got. It will list who they are, what they do, and sort of when they join, things like that, information about them, so that you know who it is and you can contact them if need be. You also have a transfer for an RSS feed. So if you do have that, you can search for a specific podcast on their website. And then finally, we have gratuity. And this basically allows you to see if people want to pay you or donate to your podcast or anything like that. You're able to select your specific country that you live in. You're able to connect it with Stripe. It does not have features with PayPal yet, as you can see. However, Stripe is also a very, very common sort of website that people use in order to get donations. And as you can see, this is what it would appear like. Support my podcast, and people can either put 1, 5, 10, 15. You're also able to enable any sort of custom donations that you want. So instead of just having those 4 set prices, you're able to have people enable or donate as much as they want. All you would need to do is enter tipping title, max 255 characters, and obviously people can click on this, donate as much as they want. And if you want to enable or disable donations on your podcast, all you would need to do is either hit this on or off switch. Very simple. Just below that, we have the looking for someone. So if the organization you support isn't listed, you can send an email and a name of a contact to that person, and we'll invite them to sign up. So you can very easily get people invited by just knowing their email and their name and send information. And then at the bottom, you have the payment history. So basically you get an overall, have a little look at who has donated, how much they've donated, and the info of when it was, what podcast it was for, and what their role is, whether they're an employee, whether they're just a regular listener, an audience member, things like that. You can also check the date in their emails. You can contact them, things like that. It's just nice to be able to see who's donating and have their information if you do actually need to contact them at any time. But that is more or less it for Podops. So now we have 2 questions. And one is, why would people want to use this, and would I recommend it? Now, to answer the first question, overall, people like releasing podcasts. Recently, it's become a much bigger thing. You know, a few years ago, before things like COVID happened, podcasts didn't used to be as big as they are now. They were still existed, but they weren't as popular. However, the popularity of them has just immensely increased since then. More people are making them, and what this aims to do is basically create that and give it to as many people, and the versatility is absolutely brilliant. So people might want to use this just to be able to earn money for doing their podcasts, have a really nice page where they don't obviously have to sign up to Spotify and have to sign up to pages like that. Being able to earn gratuity and money from your podcast is absolutely brilliant. So overall, just having that option is amazing. As well as that, if you don't sign up for Spotify and things like that, the fact that it has an inbuilt player which you're able to have people watch and listen on is just excellent. Everything's really seamlessly integrated, and it just allows anybody who has a podcast and wants to release one all the tools that they need in order to have a successful podcast and have the ability and the platform for people to listen and watch to it on. So that is more or less it for Podops. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, goodbye.